Yeah, go right ahead.
His name in a Native American language means screech owl spirit because he likes to howl and get the whole place going.
All right, once again, guys, we're going to get started in just another minute. As you come into the theater, feel free to come all the way down to the front. Feel all the way down to the seats. We're going to get started with our presentation in just another minute or so.
Check out the people. Very soft.
No. The tour.
Oh, here we go.
Hello. Hi.
Hello again.
He's almost 10 years old.
Wow.
He's about half.
Whoa. Oh my God. I have been blessed.
And he gets very.
I've been blessed by the dog.
He's very, very kissy, very affectionate.
Okay, I'll probably
Been blessed. What do you get home? Faye's gonna have. I know Faye's gonna disown me.
I think you guys are walking around.
He's got more wolf in him because those are wolf paws.
He's about to go down.
Wolf got big feet.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to our Liberty Science Center. Today's the last day of our Conservation Week celebration. We've been spending all week celebrating Earth Day in a lot of really big ways. And today I'm very, very happy to show you some of my friends who are here today. They are from Halifax Farms. And we have some of our wolf dogs here with us today. Now, before we get started, ladies and gentlemen, just a few quick reminders for the safety of our live animals. I am going to ask us to remain seated throughout the entire program. Should you need to leave, the exit is back, and we have 2 doors on either side. Our animals are going to be walking through the audience through our program. Once again, I'm going to ask us to remain seated. If you have any food or drink that does need to stay away, and I'm going to pass it over to our friends here. We have Stephen, Michael, and my friend Samantha from Halifax Farms. Let's give them a round of applause.
Woo!
How's everyone doing today?
Great.
Good. So I'm sure you guys are all focused on our animals right now. This is Samson. Samson is 13 years old.
Wow.
We have our younger guy here, the other black one. His name is Raven. He's about a year and a half. And then we have Victoria in the back. He's 9. So Samson here is only 23% wolf. He's got a lot of Malibu in him. But we've got the white one on top. He's got 52% wolf. And the black one there is about 40% wolf. We are a wolf dog rescue. And we're here today to talk about wolves. Click this. There we go. So when people think about wolves, what do you think about? Little Red Riding Hood, you think about, oh yeah, actually go ahead. What do you think about, man?
Awareness.
Yeah, so you don't think they're that dangerous and that we should understand them more. That is very true. We are taught from when we're very young that wolves are out to get you. That they're going to hunt you down in the woods. We've got movies out there where they're chasing Liam Neeson in the woods, jumping through fire. It's not really true. You have a question?
I think wolves should not eat.
Wolves should not eat people. Not eat people? Well, you don't have to worry about that. Wolves really don't eat people. People think think that these guys are actually really dangerous, that they are out hunting people, that they're chasing sled teams. But you might notice how quickly he jumped. Wolves are actually big. They're very cowards, really. These guys are wolf dogs, which is why they can hang out here. We are actually an education center and rescue. We have higher content wolf dogs at our location in Jackson where you can get tours. If we were to take them here, they'd be peeing themselves because they'd be so afraid. Wolves in the wild are very scared, skittish animals. They don't have a vet to help them if they get hurt. So their best bet is to be afraid of everything. If they don't if they're afraid of everything, they're not going to interact with something that could hurt them. So you'll see that they're very skittish, they're very nervous. Any loud noises that you make, it's as easy as putting up flags around your farm, and the wolves won't come near because the flags scare them. Wolves are actually very, very nervous, and what's known as neophobic, which means they're afraid of new things. And Samson wants to say hi to you guys, so I'm going to bring him over here and say hi. Where did Samson scratch? So as you can see, there's actually only been 2 cases of wolves hurting anyone in the last 100 years. What happens is people will go into their dens, they'll threaten them, they'll put them in positions where they have to defend themselves, or they'll socialize the wolf to a point where they come close and then make them very nervous, and then the incident happens. But they don't kill people, they don't hunt people. Their number 1 cause of death in the wild is starvation. They only catch about 1 in 7 kills, which means that every time they chase an animal, they are on their last leg hoping they catch it so they can survive another day. Samson, say hi.
Hi. Hello.
You want to touch him? Well, we're going to have a meet and greet after this presentation where you will be able to say hi to them. So, does Samson here look like a giant wolf to you? Yeah, so Samson actually is a very low content wolf dog. He's only got 23% wolf in him. The rest of his dog is mostly Malamute. So when people think of wolves, they think of giant big ears, they think the animal is humongous, that they have a really long tail, that they're super fluffy, that they've got giant legs, and they think of basically this. But wolves in the wild actually are very round, they're small, they usually range between 80 to 110 pounds in the United States. In parts of Canada and Russia, they can get bigger. And Samson here is 13, so you're going to see him lie down because he's going to chill. But you might notice how big his paws are. But if you look at how thick his legs are, that's doggy legs. He's mostly Malamute. If you look at our other animals, you might notice that their legs are very skinny, and then they have big paws at the end. Those are wolf legs. Wolves do not have big stand-up ears. They have very small, rounded ears. They have almond eyes. You see our young boy here, Raven, he's a little more nervous than the others because he's still a baby, and he's 40% wolf, so he is still a little skittish. Katori here at 9 years old, he's like, yeah, I don't care. I'm going to walk around, everyone's going to pet me. So people think that this is what a wolf looks like. They also think that they know what wolves act like. They think that there is an alpha, a big bad wolf that bullies the rest into submission. It's not true. It's actually mom, dad, their children. And you see Katori here is like, oh, yay, friend. And you see how he's licking his face and his mouth. That's a layover from wolf behaviors. Dogs do it too, because they are all descended from wolves. It's basically mom, dad, and their children. When mom and dad have their puppies, they will regurgitate their food for their puppies, so that's an affection behavior. They will actually have their puppies until about 2.5 years old. When the puppies decide they don't want to stay with their parents anymore, they just leave. It doesn't happen that one wolf says, you know, Mike is number 3 and I'm number 4, so I'm going to beat him down and show him that I'm number 3 now. And then he's going to deal with it. Or that they're going to challenge the alpha one day. It's actually just their parents. So if they don't want to listen to their parents anymore, they leave. And that's where you'll get the lone wolf. They'll be looking for a mate. And then they'll create their own packs. When the parents pass away, you'll see that different family members will scatter, they'll create new packs, and then you'll get some unrelated members or aunts and uncles in the pack. Sometimes those lone wolves are starving, so they throw themselves at the mercy of other packs. Please help me, I'll help raise your kids. And they say, okay, join us. And then that's where you'll get the one that isn't related, that it isn't a dominance-based society. It has nothing to do with beating each other up and having to be the toughest dog out there. So wolves don't do that, so why do dogs do that? They don't. They all live in family centers. They're very, very communicative. They love each other, and they are all families. All right, so they communicate. You saw Katori gave him kisses. That's the way they communicate. They'll actually play by doing jaw sparring. So they'll clack their teeth together and play. They're very loud and communicative. They roll each other. They have a great time. So Katori here is actually 52% wolf. And you'll see a lot more of those wolfy aspects. You see how short his tail is? His tail is very short. You might not be able to see it. Katori, can I show him your tail? Look at that short tail. Versus his super long tail. He's also got a much smoother face. His eyes are very almond shaped. His ears are a little smaller, and he's got very wide set paws. Not as big as some of our higher content wolf dogs, but definitely wider set than this guy, whose legs are humongous, but he's got tiny little cat paws at the end. So when these guys want to play, they'll play bow, they'll roll each other, they'll make lots of noises. When you come, if you do decide to take a tour at Howland Woods, you'll hear our guys yelling at each other, and everyone's like, oh no, they're fighting. They're not, they're just playing. So they have a great family center. They're constantly interacting, constantly giving each other kisses. They howl to communicate. Yes? You have a question? Oh, you just want to wait? Okay, that's fine. And they also use it to reinforce roles. And that's really just mom and dad tells their children what to do. You're not allowed to have puppies, but mostly because they're all related. It's how they keep themselves from getting too inbred. And when the older ones don't want to listen to their parents anymore, they'll either get pushed out of the pack or they'll just leave because they're like, yeah, you know what, I don't want to listen to you no more. And they go off on their way and they'll have their own puppies and then have their own packs. And they have very established boundaries. The families don't really touch each other. They've actually radio collared wolves and watched their movements, and all the different 7 packs in Michigan kept in very tight sections of the woods. They did not cross over. They knew where their spaces were, where their yards were. The fences were basically up by scent, because these guys have great senses of smell. They also howl. You guys ever hear a wolf howl? Yeah, it sounds like that. Ooh. And wolves, their sense of smell, sense of hearing is so good that in the forest, they can hear that at about 6 miles away. And in the tundra, they can hear it at about 10 miles away. You got a question? They give advantage to them when they're hurt? Yeah, they do. And that's a great thing about us with our dogs. When we domesticated wolves a long time ago, we benefited them because we could take care of them. So these animals that were very skittish and didn't have a vet around the corner to help them, and thus they were avoiding everything, became animals that were like, cool, let me jump in this creek, I don't care if I break my leg. Because they have humans to help them. And that's part of domestication. So, yes, you have a question? Wolves eat pigs. So do you know wolves actually eat ungulates? So ungulates are hoofed animals like goats, some deer. They actually will eat. Actually, I think we got a slide next here. Let's get over there. Click. No, it's dead. Whoops. Diving hunter, yep. So ungulates, so these hoofed animals like deer, elk, bison. There are actually a whole subspecies of wolves that live on the coast of Canada, and they eat fish. They spend most of their lives swimming, eating fish. Since the beavers are actually, otters. Otters are coming back from Canada. A lot of them are eating otters now. They've done studies where they saw that they really like beavers too, and blueberries. So they are carnivores, so they can eat blueberries and other little things like that, like roots, but they can't really thrive on it. So their main form of food is boar, so yeah, they'll eat boar, but mostly deer and elk and different things like that, depending on the area that they're in. There are different wolves that are very specialized in different types of animal. They like caribou, and when lone wolves are very on their own, they can catch mice, they catch rabbits and other things like that to keep them sustained. But again, they only catch 1 in 7 kills, and they only catch the weakest animals out there because they can only catch the ones that are the weakest, that are at the very end of the pack that are running away, and that's the one they catch. And they can actually eat 22 pounds in one sitting. They stuff it all in, and sometimes they'll cache that food away, hoping they can get back to it later, because again, they're always on the very edge of starvation. And that's why the animals here in the U.S. only really range between 80 to 110 pounds. In Russia and parts of Canada, they get much bigger because there's so much food and so little humans. Yes?
When you mentioned them eating the weakest animals, I remember it's either BBC or it was National Geographic, and they spoke about a parasite that gets into the animal that they usually hunt, and it makes them sick, and the wolves can tell that this is the animal with the parasite, and it can,
they can definitely tell the weakest one.
Yeah.
They know to go for
the parasite purposely makes the I think it's like a caribou or it's a type of deer, and it infects it, and it makes it give off pheromones that the wolves can track, and then the parasite gets into the wolves, does absolutely nothing to the wolves, and then it gets back into the elk, and it's just complete
process. Yeah, a lot of parasites are like that, where if it infects another animal that's not in their food chain, they really don't do anything to it. It benefits them to continue on through the actual hosts that they like. So the wolves do go for the weakest animals. They can't catch any others, so they catch that one, and it actually keeps the elks healthy. It keeps the deer healthy, because the ones that are sick, the ones that can't keep up, are the ones that are caught. And because we have run all these animals out of the country, we do have a huge population boom of deer, which has a huge population boom of deer ticks, which means a huge population boom in Lyme disease. So we really messed up our ecosystem by doing this. Prior to 1960, when we killed off all the wolves and they were on the brink of extinction, we had over 250 to 500,000 wolves in the United States. And we just went out en masse and killed them for their fur, killed them for the, really for the pride of it, and just killed them because we hated them, and we had no idea why we didn't want these guys around. Because we were encroaching into their territories, because we didn't understand them. It was just easier to kill them all than to put flags around your farm to keep them away. At 1960, only 300 wolves remained in the United States.
Wow.
And because of that, we had a lot of coyote come from the south and move into the United States. And that's where now we have what most people consider a high population of coyote that are causing issues, because we got rid of these guys. These guys are wolf dogs, but you know what I mean, the wolves. We did reintroduce them in 1990 because of the Endangered Species Act. That's why we now have wolves in different parts of the world, the country. We have wolves in Alaska, we have wolves in Michigan now. They recently just saw wolves going into the lower part of Washington and Oregon. They're actually starting to recover, but they're not recovering very quickly. Everyone knows about the Yellowstone wolves. I'm sure you guys have heard about the great boom of wolves in Yellowstone. They recently measured how many wolves we have there. We only have 80 left. 80 in all of Yellowstone. It's very sad. And that is because the Endangered Species Act only covers now certain states. And the second that the wolves step off of Yellowstone into the different states in that area, they're shot. And these hunters will actually stay out on the edge and watch them and wait for them to step over the line and then shoot them. And it's all about ego. We don't eat them. There's no reason to kill them. There are not enough of them. And if we do have them removed from completely from the Endangered Species Act, like EPA is considering, you will see a drastic decline in these animals. Even with the Endangered Species Act protecting them, Mexican gray wolves, which are one of the rarest wolves out there, they are the most protected under laws. And recently in New Mexico, one was killed, trapped, tortured. They taped a magnet to his radio collar so no one would find it. And then one in Arizona, they knew that it was endangered. They knew that it did get them in trouble. They still shot him and took a photo and put it on Facebook. So they don't, without the protections of the law, it's going to get a lot worse. We're going to see drastic declines in their populations. You have a question? Right there? Speak nice and loud.
Does anything hunt wolves?
We do. We hunt wolves. But not really for any other reason, but because we hate them. And we want their fur sometimes. Not animals. No real animals hunt wolves. They are what's considered the apex predator. So the only thing higher than a wolf on the food chain really is us. And that's because we have all the tools that we have created to catch them. They want nothing to do with us. They run the opposite direction. And so we use a lot of different tools to be able to stop them from running from us. So, who are we? We are Howling Woods Farm. So we, again, are a... Does that continue on this? Okay. We are a wolf dog rescue and education center. So if you are interested in meeting more of our animals, we do have animals ranging from 23%, which is this guy right here, all the way to 98% wolves. wolf. And wolf dogs are created because people wanted the fur of the wolves. They realized it was really hard to catch them because no one else is hunting them and they run away from us. So they started breeding them with dog to create something like a toy or higher, and then they would skin them for the fur for their clothing. That became illegal in 1990. I don't know what year it became illegal to skin cats and dogs. Do you remember?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, there was a law that came out that said you cannot skin anything with cat or dog in it. So then they started selling them as pets. These guys are not great pets. They can be good companions for the right person who has the right environment, lots of space and time, but they are not really good in the house. So you can come and meet them. We also have animals that are up for adoption. Different states do allow you to keep wolf dogs. New York, you can't. In Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, you can't have wolf dogs, but in Jersey, you can. And while they are not going to walk down the street and hang out with you at the playgrounds, they can be great companions for the right person if you are interested in adopting some of our animals. Who do we have here? This is a little outdated, but I said right here, this is Samson. He's 13. Katori here came from New Jersey. He was owned by 2 police officers who couldn't take care of him anymore. And then Raven here came from New York. His family loved him so much, knowing that they were illegal in New York, they rescued him, that they brought him to us to keep him safe. Because in New York, they will put your dog down for even not wolf. As long as they could be mistaken for a wolf, they'll euthanize your animal. Just because of those same thought processes where people are afraid of wolves and don't understand them, and people purchase them without understanding them at all. Does anyone have any questions? Sir?
I was curious, you talked about the wolf being an apex predator. I mean, here in North America, I'm assuming a bear is an apex predator too.
Yeah, in their areas.
My question I'm getting at is there's no interaction between these 2 apex predators?
No, there are interactions. Generally, they stay away from each other. There have been videos caught in them playing together, certain ones, but generally they keep to their own kind of prey. Bears like to catch fish and salmon and eat berries.
No real conflict?
Not really. Not for territory. They have a very different type of prey. So they do interact, but they don't really conflict so much. Yes?
Percentages of wolf in each one of them?
Yes.
How do you get to that?
So we use a form of DNA testing called Embark, and it is an option for all the public. And they test down to accuracy of about 5% for wolf content in your dog. So we have all of our animals tested with Embark. It's actually very interesting that as DNA testing becomes more accurate, you do have a lot of breeders out there who will say, sell something like Samson, who's only 23% wolf, and call him a Highland Arctic Venezuelan wolf dog, that 95%, which obviously don't exist, they just say so they can sell them. So you're finding a lot of breeders that are getting called out for their misrepping for their animals. Anyone else have a question? Sir?
The actual process of the breeding that leads it to be a specific amount, these dogs and wolves, I'm assuming therefore can mate and breed.
They can. Wolf dogs are not considered a hybrid because they're the same species. Wolves are Canis lupus lupus, and dogs are Canis lupus familiaris. You also have Canis rufus, which is the red wolf, and then you also have coyote. You can also have a hybridization of dog and dingoes too, but there's another animal in Europe that I'm blanking on the name, I apologize. They're all in the same species, so they can actually reproduce together. It's not common in the wild. A wolf pack is much more likely to kill a dog that's in their territory than reproduce with the dog, but because we wanted animals that we could control and skin whenever we wanted, we created them and they started selling them as pets.
So 23% would mean that like it's 2 generations away?
Multiple generations away. And wolf dogs don't come from a mating of wolf and dog anymore. They all come from that stock of fur trade animals. No one's breeding wolf to dog anymore. So all these animals are domestic. They're bred in between wolf dog to wolf dog to create a whole different assortment of animals. They're all mutts. They're all just different mixes. Anyone else have a question? What about you? Do they eat mutts? Mice. Yeah, they will if they're little, when they're babies. Well, our wolf dogs don't know what to do with anything. We feed these guys raw chicken from the restaurant depot, so if they catch something like a mouse, they're mostly playing with it. Your cat's going to be much better at catching mice. You okay? Sir in the gray tank top? Oh, hoodie? a young wolf, when a lone wolf is moving off away from their pack, or a pack has fallen apart because of the death of one of their breeding pair, they will actually throw themselves at the mercy of the other animals. They really only do it if they are absolutely desperate. I'm starving to death. I am days away from dying. Please help me. I'll raise your children. Please feed me. And that's when they will actually join a different wolf pack. But generally, when they actually scatter, they'll just find a new mate and create their own. Anyone else? Right there, huh? They're not allergic to some animals, but because they are a family center, mom and dad teaches them what to hunt. That's why if you have a wolf dog like this, people will sometimes throw them in the woods when they can't handle them anymore and expect them to be able to just catch any deer. Wolf packs, though, are family centers, so mom and dad teaches their puppies how to hunt and what to hunt. If you just release them into the wild, they don't know how to take care of themselves. Anyone else? We have about 5 minutes. You have? Oh, they definitely love Tommy rubs like this. Samson's like, what the heck? I was taking a nap. But our big boy Orion, who is about 93% wolf, loves belly rubs, and 92, who is 98% wolf, loves belly rubs. But generally, if you see a wolf in the wild, the best thing you can do for them and for yourself is make sure they're scared of you. Because there's lots of humans out there who love wolves, but there are a lot more that hate them and want them to be dead. So by scaring them off, it ensures that they'll be afraid of the hunter that chases them down. So the best thing you can do is snap your picture and scare them, so that way they run away and they avoid people. That's how a lot of those Yellowstone wolves are being shot, because they didn't socialize with people. They just walk up closer to the hunter and they just shoot them. Sorry to that. Anyone else with a photo? Yes, you? How many wolves do we have? Well, we have wolf dogs, and we have about 20. We also have a toy dog. His name is Maverick, who is not on the tours, but you can see him. He is my favorite, so it's always great to mention him. Anyone else?
We can try
over
it.
there.
For a dog the size of like Samson, how much on a daily basis is it weight? Because I know that you said that
Yeah, we'll try and 3 pounds.
How much food would he eat, and how much of an area does this dog ultimately have to roam? Are we talking acres?
We have multiple acres on our facility. It's about 10 acres. So we have a main pen that's an acre wide. We have a rec pen, which is their play pen that we rotate them through, which is 2 acres of woods that has been fenced in. And then he has a pen that's about a half an acre, and these are his pen mates. They're family members, essentially, their own little family. So they eat about, what would you go through, like 200 pounds of raw chicken a week, right? Right? A lot.
300 pounds.
300 pounds, sorry, 300. We did get more animals, so about 300 pounds of raw chicken a month. A week. And then we also feed them deer during hunting season. Any other questions? Yeah? They can hear each other, they howl as a form of communication. They also can smell each other. They mark. They have a scent gland, which none of these guys show because there's a lot of dogs. They have a scent gland on the back of their tail that they'll use to mark areas, and they say, hey, I'm available. Yeah, they leave. Actually, the females tend to leave a little earlier because since mom really runs the pack, the female wolves, as they get older, they tend to leave a little earlier because they can butt heads. So they'll actually be wandering, and so will the males, and they'll create their own packs. I think we're running up on the end here.
Let's try a howl.
Oh, we're going to try a howl? Okay, so guys, again, like I was saying, howling is a form of communication. In order to get them to howl, we have to howl nice and loud and continue to go until Katori here, our white one, whose name means Screech Owl Spirit, starts howling too. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Oh. I think that's the only time
I love his paws. They're so cute.
Yeah, they're huge. So if we can have a line though, so that way everyone can come say hi and not overwhelm them. Want to say hi? Do you guys want to say hi to Samson? Say hi, give him a scratch.
I'm gonna run to the next show.
Yeah, he's mostly dogs, so he's got a very doggy coat. Raven here, who is a little more nervous, so he might get a little skittish. He's got a much more wolfy coat, so you never want to go as fast as his face. You want to move very slowly.
Look at everybody. Well, I don't know if we'll have time to pat all of them.
Aw, look at him give the kisses.
Very, very pretty. Okay, hold my hand.
The other ones are not. You done? You sure?
He's about half wolf, mostly half German Shepherd.
Oh,
You want to touch it?
I see the German Shepherd in him.
Oh yeah.
Want to touch?
Very, very friendly.
It's a wolf dog.
Oh, you got him.
I'm going to run ahead to the next show.
Hello.
Hi, buddy. You licked you, you wiped it off. You want to guys look at
Alright, want to try and see one more?
So when I came there, I was trying
I'm sorry.
And that's the thing I did with a lot of my tours, that you can't get an animal that looks like these guys without it being as they domesticated those nice wolf, they started keeping their childhood features.
It's so sad people hate these things. They're such amazing creatures. I have a question. What color is usually their sclera?
jump on top of
All right, guys, if you can take a step back, please. All right,
What color is their sclera usually?
okay. All right, guys, everyone say hi to the animals. Please take one step back. A nice big step back, because we don't want these guys to be scared or overwhelmed. So if everyone please can take one big step back right now. Everyone take one big step back. Sorry. Absolutely. Everyone take one step back. One or two people at a time to say hi to them and then step away. Okay, guys? We want everyone to say hi.